All right. So after considering our booking information for more rise and fall method of leveling that has some intermediate site readings, we are now going to reduce this field book. So remember our initial set of formulas in calculating the difference in elevation for any pair of readings would have been a backside minus foresight reading or backside minus intermediate side reading. All right. So in this case, we are trying to determine the elevation at benchmark 2. So I highlighted in our previous recording that our elevation or reduced level at benchmark 61, which is known, would have been 257.61 meters, right? We can state that all those readings are in meters. And in our remarks column, we could place that that is benchmark 61. Now then, we want to now determine whether between our backside reading here and our first intermediate side reading there, if it was a rise or a fall. So in this case, it would have been our first backside reading, which would have been 4.72 less our first intermediate side reading. Let me get rid of this additional information here so we have some space, which is 4.42. So backside minus intermediate side reading, which gives us 0, 3, 0. So, and that's a positive. So once we have a positive there, then you know it's a rise. So in line with our intermediate side reading, we'll now place in our rise column 0.30, right? Now to determine the reduced level, so to determine the reduced level at this particular point, which would have been our first intermediate side reading, right at the house corner there, we now would have added our rise, which is the difference in elevation from benchmark 61 and the first house corner to the reduced level at benchmark 61. So in that case, we can place it here, 257.61, and we add them. So our reduced level at this first point would have been 257.91 meters. Okay? And we could say that is corner of house, right? So that is our first set of readings. So our second reading, or pardon me, our third reading, which is another intermediate side reading, again we would have backside still at 4.72 as we have here. And then we're going to subtract our next intermediate side reading from that previous backside, because that's the only other backside reading we would have had at that particular setup. And that backside, that intermediate side reading is 4.30. Alright, so the next intermediate side reading. So 2, 3 from 7 gives us 4. Alright, and that's a positive value, so that shows us that this 2 is a rise. And from our diagram, we can see that the house would have been on a incline. So we place that value in our rise column in line with our intermediate sight reading. Also, to determine the reduced level at that point, we also may add the reduced level from our previous backside reading, right? So it would have been a reduced level from the previous backside reading that we would have added this particular rise to. Okay, so in that case, we would have 257.61 added to 0.42. So 3, the 0 carry over the 1, 8, 5, 2. So a reduced level here would have been 258.03 meters. Okay? Now then, as we move on, we will also do likewise based on our formula. As we have seen in our first example, backside minus foresight in this case here now, right? Because our last backside reading, because we haven't moved the instrument as yet, would have been 4.72. So 4.72, and then we are going to take away 2.01, which is now foresight reading here because we are about to move from that setup. So it would have been 172. All right, so this 2 is also a positive. So we have a rise of 2.71 as we go up our circuit here, our leveling circuit. So the point at turning point 1, or the turning point here, the difference in elevation between benchmark 61 and the turning point would have been 2.71 meters. To determine the elevation, the reduced level of that particular point, we would have added the rise here to our previous reduced level at our first backside point to get that reduced level. So we now add 257.61 to that elevation. So gives us 260.32. 260.32. All right, so we can put in our remarks column here that this is at our turning point, the reducer that we have calculated. This also would have been the next corner of the house. We could label it corner 1 and corner 2 respective. All right. And that would have been the calculations for our first setup here. All right, so we're going to take a break at this point in time, and then we'll come back in our next clipping to calculate the rest of the booking information for rise and fall.